I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what, add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me.
Welcome, here we go.
This is the Millionaire Before 30 show, and we are designing this to give you the blueprint of how to be a millionaire before 30. I'm Ryan Zolin.
I am Brent Daniels, Mr. Talk to People, and we are excited. We're going to jump right in. We've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're going to be breaking this down. I know that if you have not read this book, you certainly need to get it. It is a game changer, but if you're watching the show, they've probably already read it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Dude, this was life-changing. I don't know about you, but
this set me on my path. I read this as a mushy-brained 21-year-old, maybe 20-year-old, and that it literally sparked the fire that started in my belly to be a real estate entrepreneur.
So I don't know if I told you, but this is actually what got me into real estate.
Yeah.
It was Robert Kiyosaki. So I went to one of those events with my brother and a couple of his buddies, and it was one of those seminars like you go, they teach you the basics, they try to sell you on the course afterwards. But I was 17 at the time in the program, and it was mind-blowing.
Incredible. Before we get in there, we really want to hook you in here with I want to break down some deals here real quick. I want to show you what my team has sold this week, how we sold it, what we do, what income we have coming in, because we have a combined on these three deals that I'm going to show you $174,000. Ryan's going to show one that they just closed this week as well. But I want to show you that bringing that kind of money in, that income coming in, how do you make sure that you keep it? How do you implement the foundation that are in this when it comes down to the income statement, the balance sheet, assets, liabilities, all of these things? It all factors in with very, very, very simple instruction from this book. So let's jump right in, Matt. If you'll jump right in here, we're going to first look at this deal. This was a two of these deals actually came from web leads. These are leads that we got from either pay-per-click or Facebook. This one was actually a cold call. It's the biggest one that we're going to be closing. This one is really, really interesting. You see that the value there, right? And this is just on PropStream. The value here is $140,000. This property needs a lot of love.
Okay.
All right, this property is in rough shape, but this one we're going to be netting $72,000 on. This is actually one that we're going to be closing and then reselling right away.
Wholesale.
Sometimes, listen, sometimes when you get a really good, big, massive deal, 50K plus, it's better to close it, not take any chances with anything getting wiggly, with it going out to a buyer that maybe, knows the seller or that wants to try to backdoor us on anything. I just don't want to take any risks.
Absolutely.
I want to close this deal and I want to sell it out there. We've already got buyers committed. We have it at $55,000. We've got buyers committed up at 120 something. What is it? What's 72 from that? 122.
Wow.
Yeah, we have it at 122.
And you said this was a
55, 127. Sorry, 127.
Cold call too?
It was a cold call.
Very cool.
Yep. So that one is, and that's committed. We haven't even put it out there. We might just put it on the market and really go bananas with it.
There
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But listen, $72,000. Let me look at the numbers here so that we can break this thing down. From the flip side of that, it cost us about $5,000 with everything from the skip tracing, our American cold caller that we have making calls from us through a company called callmotivatedsellers.com, and through the dialer, the phone, the lists, the phone numbers, and the dialer over time. This is it's about $5,000 worth of cost, and then from there I have about 18% of that $72,000 goes to my acquisition manager and my disposition manager, and then we've got some operation, but for the most part I look at my business. I'm trying to push it up to 50%, Ryan.
Wow.
Trying to push it up to 50% net income. We're at about 44%, and that's a really healthy business. I mean,
Absolutely.
breaking down all the businesses that you have,
of course.
the average profit margin for most businesses is in the teens.
I was going to say, I mean, 20 is a desire.
20 is like huge.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's so incredible about this business. If you are getting the most out of your staff, getting the most out of the people that you have around, and not, listen, a lot of people think that you need all of these leads, all of these leads, all of these leads. You do. I mean, that's the engine of your business, but
Right.
you have to squeeze
Of course.
everything out of every lead. You can't let things slip through the cracks. That's the biggest issue.
Absolutely.
It's really interesting.
Maximize your profits. I mean, that was one of the reasons why we transitioned to the MLS deals was that it was smaller overhead, and it allowed me to kind of set the foundation properly before going into the model that we're back in now of pouring so much into that. I mean, especially going acquisitions, like you just broke it all down for the cold calling. I mean, that's a lot of dough to put out.
Yep.
And imagine if you're not getting deals.
Sure.
So that's where the systems and processes come into place. And I mean, obviously you've got it.
That's why you went with the MLS.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right? What's your overhead for getting deals off the MLS?
Honestly, I mean, we're pretty much around zero, dude.
Right.
Like it's
For marketing costs.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the MLS fees every year. It's like $500 to be
Right.
part of the association. But aside from that, I mean, it just comes down to time.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is the hardest place to find the deals. But with that said, you have the ability to maximize your profit. I mean, we're sitting at about like 80%.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And do you have anybody on your staff that's like pulling these in, sending out the offers, kind of like first?
Yeah, of
line
course.
to
I mean,
you know what I mean?
that's
First
where-
attack mode.
that's where we've got, I mean, added expense would be a salary of a transaction coordinator.
Right.
But when you put them at
You're doing salary.
salary plus commission.
Love it.
But
Okay.
we've got that. Aside from that, it's just our acquisition manager's fees. So
Yeah.
whenever they bring a deal in, the commission off that. But
What do you pay your acquisition manager?
it ranges anywhere from 10% to 20%.
Love it. What makes it 10 to 20? Is it the size of the deal?
The experience level. So
Okay.
we basically start them at 15 would be ideally. And then if they, after a 90-day period, if they've done enough production, we bump them up to 20.
Yep.
But with that said, I mean, we've got people on the team that are up to 30, 35%. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Of the deal.
Yeah.
Just getting them.
And it just, what you got to remember too is
You don't have
that's
marketing
MLS.
costs.
Exactly. So
You don't
for
have
us-
marketing costs.
Yeah.
Awesome. Get ready to pull up yours when you get a chance. Do you want me to pull it up on the computer?
Yeah, we
here?
can pull it up on the computer.
Okay,
Let's do that.
Let's do the let's look at your deal. Well, let's pop onto my deal here. The second one,
Yep.
this one was great. This one was an internet lead. This was, I think, just a classic pay-per-click. You can see the value on that, $400,000. We locked up this deal and got it assigned for $67,000 assignment fee.
There you go.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, the interesting thing, and this is across the country, if you find a track home, and this is in a track community, what I mean
Yep.
by track home is it's a builder that builds maybe 5 or 6 different models,
Yep.
and they build these big communities, and people love getting into these properties. 1, because they're newer, and 2, that it's got a good community vibe to it, and 3, the price points
Yep.
are affordable for a lot of people. So this one we locked up and put it out at $67,000. With that, the internet leads was it cost about $7,500
To get that. Yep.
to get that deal.
Wow.
And,
Was that
and
in
the
a
other
month?
deal.
In a month span, or was that from the time you got it to?
So we spend $15,000 a month.
Okay.
We got these 2 deals.
Wow. Okay.
So 2
$7,500
deals
yep.
divided by
Breaks down.
15,000, 7,500.
For sure.
So, and then the third one here is this one, and this is on 24th Street. We assigned this one for $35,000, bringing our total up for the week $174,000. This one was just a tired owner. Had this big lot, couldn't keep it anymore, and wanted to sell it. So, and by the way, everybody watching this, if you've got comments, you got questions, that's the point of the show. Most of this show is question and answers. We're just warming up. We're getting everybody excited. We're showing the real life how to bring this income in. You're 18, 19, 20, all the way up to to whatever. I mean, we have everybody on this show, but specifically, if you're under 30 years, the way to start bringing in that income is to start going out there, being proactive, finding ugly properties, and having a conversation with the property owner and seeing if they would consider an offer on their property. That is like straight to the owner, and Ryan shows you how he's done it, going through agents to get to the owner, actually finding deals, finding gems on the MLS, which allows him to keep more of his deals because there's no marketing costs. It's already out there. He's just hustling a lot faster than everybody else. He's communicating more effectively than everybody else. So listen to him as he's talking about how he's finding those deals. What's the address of yours?
Let's pull up this one.
Yep.
1202 West Bethany Home Road. We close on this one. It'll either be today or tomorrow. Have to give a huge shout out to Brandon on our acquisition team.
Yep.
He has just been rocking and rolling. Albert, how long has he been with us? 3-4 months?
Somewhere around that time frame, 3-4 months.
And this dude is now just blowing up.
He's rocking. He's using the systems that we provide, using the knowledge that we help him find the deals, analyze it, evaluate it, and here's how he's able to just snipe it out.
And I'd always say, I talked about this in one of our first episodes, but the hardest hurdle for me was to get over understanding I could do one deal a month. I mean,
this is clean.
He's right. And he's been with us 3 or 4 months, and this dude's at least at one deal a month. So huge shout out to him. He acquired this deal. As you can see, it shows pending. I don't know if we want to throw this up there. Perfect.
Yep.
So it's on the MLS. As we've talked about the last couple episodes, these are on-market properties with a real estate agent. We looked at it. The reason we ended up passing was because it is on a main road. But what we liked was that the driveway is not on the main road. So Albert went and took a look at the property with Brandon. Went with you, right? Yep. So you went with Brandon. Like you said, super clean. It doesn't need too much in rehab. And for us, where we got it at a good enough deal that we were able to sell it off. We got it at $440, right? Or
Great.
That sounds right. Yeah. $440. And then we ended up getting a $2,500 price reduction during our inspection period. We got a $17,500 assignment, and then we also have $13,000 of commission.
What's the total?
Profit $30,000.
$30,000. Now, the reason we bring up this income, obviously, that's the first step. If you'll show us the ladder, Matt, when you pull that up. Sorry, kind of threw that at you last minute, but if you could pull up the blueprint, really the path to get to that goal of being a millionaire before 30. It all starts with doing your first deal. That's the first thing. The first thing is get that first deal going. Whatever it is, start bringing income in.
Absolutely.
We need to start providing value. When you are out there, you are trading your time and skills and experience and everything for income. People are paying you for a service that is doing a deal, or it's a product or whatever else. But in real estate specifically, it's a service business, really.
Absolutely.
What we're doing is we're finding discounted properties, we're getting it out there and selling it to our investor base, our investor network, and then we're doing a deal. Next, we get full-time. Once you go full-time into your business, once you are an actual self-employed person, and we're going to break that down. Once you're self-employed, you start really going. Now you've got it full-time. You're starting to build some momentum. You're starting to get the more and more income, and then you start building your business. And from there, you're killing your debt. You're investing in assets, and then you're there. Financial freedom.
Free.
That's it.
That
is it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it is about sourcing these opportunities and keeping the money that you make. That's the biggest issue that I see. It was the biggest issue I had for sure in my 20s. I was like, well, I need to spend this money. I need to invest in this. I need to hire more people. I need to spend more money on marketing. I need to pull myself out of the business faster and work on my business and not in my business. It was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake. I did not earn the right yet.
Yep. I really liked that you brought that up too. I mean, it goes right into the book. I mean, you're talking about it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.
Yep.
That's one of the biggest things that I took away from the book. And honestly, that was my own problem too, was that when I was on the investment side first starting, I wasn't making the money. I was just spending what I thought I had to in order to make the money.
Right.
So I did it all backwards too. Rather than going and making it and then investing it, I was creating some bad debt.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And that's it. And that just eats you up. Not only that, it's just You know, if you're not taking the money off and you're not buying assets with it, it allows you to spend it.
Absolutely.
And there's a fine line in a business on, are we spending money or are we investing money into something? Right? And that's why you have to be really, really, really solid on who you hire and who you surround yourself with and the team that you build, because nothing is more spendy in a business than hiring people, training them, and then them turning over and turning over and turning over and having to do it over and again. Have you had to deal with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fortunately, our turnover rate hasn't been too high as opposed to some of the other people that I know. Our model isn't as systematic where it's just plug and play with the person. I've seen that with a lot of teams out here that they just treat them like a number, where ours is a little bit more hand holding and all that. But I mean, of course, I've had people that have left the team. I've had people that I've poured thousands and thousands into that have up and left and tried to go do it on their own. So yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game. And unfortunately, even being in real estate, that was one of my first lessons, is like, real estate turnover is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, so absolutely, man.
Well, that's why as you're building your business, everybody out there, remember, you need to go in, you need to put the work in. You need to be Giannis on the Bucks, on the court, like really dominating, winning all the time. Now, Giannis doesn't own the Bucks. Right? He doesn't own the Bucks. And I usually say LeBron and the Lakers in this example, but somebody's like, hey, switch it up. You know, Giannis just won it. So, you know, whatever. Okay, great. We'll switch it up for you, one person. But listen, it's the truth. When you are starting a business, you have to think of yourself like an NBA player, an NFL player, something like that. You have to show up. You got to go to practice. You got to put in the work. You got to perform on the game day. You got to do all these things as you're doing it. And by the way, listen to me right now. Some people in life should always stay as the player.
Oh, absolutely.
Should always stay self-employed. Should always stay in that. You're going to be more happy. You're going to be more in control. You're not going to have to hire people and train them. And really, like, I understand that you want to be a leader and you want to be a CEO and you want to be a boss and you want to do all these things. But with that comes all the responsibilities of every single person on your team. You are responsible for their financial well-being. Do you want that weighing on, you know, the crown is heavy. You know what I mean? The crown is heavy. So do you want that? Do you have the leadership ability? Do you have the skills to be able to do that? If so, rock and roll. We have a ton of people that do. But some people, listen, it's okay if you just want to be the MVP on the court and just make a fortune just like doing the work, just solo, doing these deals yourself, keeping all the profits, having your own schedule, not being responsible for other people, and just living really, 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 truly free.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Real quick, let's go through these two things, and then we're going to start cracking this thing out open for questions. All right. So as you guys are watching this, if you have questions, if you have comments, make sure that you put it in here. If you have some successes this week, make sure that you put it in there. We'd love to celebrate you and recognize you. So the first one, Matt, if you could pull up the income statement and balance sheet. I think that this is really, really, really important for everybody to look at. This is very simple, guys. This is something that every business owner has to look at. Now, does every business owner look at it? No. But this is absolutely critical. All right, look at what's going on. You've got your income and expenses. That's easy. Debit and credits. Money coming in versus money going out. All right, are you making enough money are you making enough income every single month to cover your expenses and pay for the lifestyle that you want?
Absolutely.
And that comes down to two things: assets and liabilities. Assets and liabilities. How many things? Assets put money in your pocket.
Liabilities take them away. And obviously the goal is to get to the point where you have the assets producing enough income to cover the liabilities. That's the be all save all name of the game for us.
Yeah, but it comes from, you have to get enough income and you have to keep your expenses low enough to be able to buy assets.
To buy the assets, of course.
You know what I mean? And instead of income coming in, expenses being high, and then you put it into liabilities of things that are taking money from you.
Right. And my favorite thing is when people say that you can't do that too. There's always the ones that are like, especially the ones that are bankable, that are like, man, I don't have the extra money on the side. I'm like, well, if you look at how much you're spending elsewhere, you could then invest that money in and then have that pay for your liabilities. Like, what are you doing?
Right. And then listen, if you want to have all these liabilities, you want to have all these tax write-offs and all these other things that we trick ourselves into believing, or great salespeople at the Lamborghini shop trick yourself into believing that this is actually an asset, that this is actually going to perform and bring money in for you. It doesn't. Stop. Don't be naive thinking that Mercedes that you bought for your real estate business is going to make you money. It's not going to make you money. You know what's going to make you money? This thing, your mouth, the ability to speak and communicate, and these things, your ears, the ability to listen to what people are looking for and what people need in the service.
And you can buy it later.
Yeah.
You can buy it later. What's the rush? Especially if we're talking to people that are under 30. I mean,
oh, for sure.
Right?
Well, listen, people want to ball out. I mean,
of course.
Of course. Listen, it's a lot cooler if you drove in with a Lamborghini at 23 than me at 40. Let's be honest, right?
I mean, Lamborghini's cool either way.
Right?
But I know what you're saying.
No,
yes,
but
yes,
I mean, if you would get a lot more clout from your family,
of course,
from your friend group, from Instagram, from all this. It'd be a lot of really positive, really awesome stuff, right? But it's not making you money.
Nope. No, absolutely not.
I mean, it is investing into your self-confidence.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I could even pitch it in a way of branding and marketing, but like, can you really track your ROI on that?
Right.
Like, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of people grow up. You have nothing. You see the highest things, the pinnacle of, oh my gosh, chains and watches and cars and trips and
materialistic
experiences and all of these things, and you're like, I can't do that. Or you live in a family that's saying we can't afford it, or you grow up in something that's like you could never do that, or rich people are evil, or we're going to be moral and closer to God because we're living in poverty, so we know the struggle and we know how great, like there's a lot of that is mixed in to family environments. There's a lot of that that's mixed into the way that our brains work, and kind of some of the blockages and hurdles that we have mentally to get over, so that we understand if we buy assets, this can last a whole lot longer than this 18-month period where you're going to feel like a badass, and everybody's going to love you because you've got some super car or something.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
Every single person I know, and some of them are in this building right now that have bought supercars, are like, after the first month or two, it's like a lot of maintenance, a lot of concern about rocks chipping it. Like there's a lot of different things that take up your mind, and they're like, whatever. It's great. I love it. It was always a goal, but whatever.
Right.
That's what everybody
it
says
doesn't change
after
anything.
18 months. Some of it is like the day after.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you could buy a fourplex that you buy right now for $300,000 in Phoenix, and 15 years from now it's worth $700,000, and you're getting cash flow all the time. You've got this incredible property, and then if you wanted to, you could just pull out a home equity line, go buy that car cash.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Make it sound so easy, Brent.
Listen, buy assets, baby.
Buy assets.
Anyway, let's crack this thing open. If you guys have some comments and questions, let's get this thing rolling, rocking and rolling. Big week for the team. 174,000 for the week. We've got two other properties actually that we are. We've got one that we closed. We've got another one that we need to sell, and there's another. I think we have two others that we need to sell. So the team is rocking.
There you go.
And that is a testament to being self-employed myself for a long time, building up the confidence to be a leader, building up the experience to build out the operations and the flow and the team and the right cast of characters, and once you do, I mean, I haven't seen any of these properties. I haven't been to any of these properties. This is, I've looked at them when we locked them up, but this is, about as much as I looked at them, as much as we did in the first 10 minutes of the show. So it's exciting. That'll add some money into my account, and then I'll go and buy something.
There you go.
That's an asset.
I mean, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
All the systems and processes in place, and you can kind of just be the guy overviewing the operation.
But it takes a while.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to earn that.
Dude, I mean, the amount of people that come into this thinking that you're just going to start clicking and making money. That's why when I was giving the shout out to Brandon, I'm like, people don't realize, but to get to the point where you can do one a month even, that's a hurdle and a milestone that once you get to that, you got to pat yourself on the back and understand, like, I am so far ahead. And so, yeah, dude, it's you understand the grind.
I get it.
You get it.
Yep.
You get it.
Albert, oh, here we go. Let's go, guys. I'm wholesaling the MLS. I got 3 contracts this month by listening to these episodes. What'd I tell you?
I mean,
look at your impact, brother.
Dude, that's called action. Let's get that.
Bring that thing.
Oh, snap.
Let's do it over here because it's real.
Dude, we throw the thing so hard. Let's go.
He broke it.
Let's go. We break bells over here.
There we go. Hey, congratulations, J.E. Would love to get your full name so that people can squad up with you. So don't be shy. Have the courage and let us know who you are. But congratulations.
That's what's up.
I love getting contracts. You know what I love more? Selling those deals. So make sure that you get those moved. Make sure that you're getting a good amount on those and keep the process moving forward. That's is awesome.
Up.
Congratulations. I mean, listen, this show is going to build and build and build with the amount of live people, the amount of comments and all this stuff. So the people taking advantage of it early on, I'm telling you, it's a cheat code.
Yep.
I am telling you, people, they better show up on Thursdays. That's all I'm saying. They better show up on Thursdays. So there you go.
I love it.
That is awesome. Okay. Arif, shout out to Ryan for allowing me to fly out to Arizona and meet him and his team and connecting. 2 days after meeting with him, I signed up for real estate school next week, taking the national state exam.
Dude.
How'd this happen?
He reached out to me on social media. We have our meetups we do every month, and he was like, hey, I'm in Vegas. I'm going to be coming down to meet you.
Yep.
And so he saw that we were, like I said, doing the meetup. And we've had this happen a few times where people have flown out from other states just to come see our operation. And so, yeah, he's
How often is your meetups?
Once a month.
Is there somewhere that people, if they're interested in and they want to show up and they want to be around you, when that would be?
Yeah, Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, just my first and last name. We post all about the meetups on there. We share all them from the Zolin Group website. But, yeah, that's the easiest place for it.
Awesome. Instagram.
Yes, sir.
All
Instagram.
Right. Is it like a certain day every month?
It's the first Tuesday of every month. So our next one is going to be October 5th, I believe. Yeah,
there you go.
Sounds right.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Shout out to Arif. What's up, bro?
Dominique, any real estate acquisition group we could join? I'm not sure, Dominique. Yeah. It depends on where you're at. It depends on what... I mean, I assume that you're looking to be an acquisition manager. So anybody out there, if you're looking for an acquisition manager, there's Dominique. Dominique, what I would probably do is just put your Instagram in the comments here. And if you guys are interested in seeing, if you're at that point where you're ready to hire an acquisition manager, reach out to Dominique and see what she's about.
Squad up.
There you go. Absolutely. Best leads to run.
Ooh. I would just say it depends on your business model. You know, obviously we have two different operations here. Yeah. For me, it's Realtors and MLS. I would say for Brent, it's probably direct to seller.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I would say it's just a matter of figuring out which angle you want to take and then doubling down on it. The best advice I can say is don't spread yourself too thin trying to juggle 5 or 6 different ways. I would just say pick 2 or 3 and then reevaluate after like 90 days.
Yeah, I think if you're just getting right into it, it's very simple. Drive around, find an ugly house, and find the owner's info. You know, it's very easy at dealmachine.com. Use that TTP coupon code, but it's like, what is it, $50 a month now, Alejandro? Right, $50 a month for Deal Machine. It's usually $60, but you get $10 off. And then what you do is you just drive around, click on that address that's ugly. It'll pull up all the information, and then you can just reach out to that homeowner and see if they would consider an offer on their property. So that's the best deals to go after right off the bat. You're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs. You're going to have to get a lot of rejection. You're going to have that thick rhino skin. But eventually you will get those opportunities closed.
And that was also a nugget for people that are newer, and especially even people on my team. Listen to what you just said. You got to kiss a lot of frogs here. Like this is not as easy.
So I have stats, and this is just pulled from all over thousands of students that I've coached. This is from just masterminding with the top people.
Yep.
1 out of 200 contacts, actual conversations with the owner. If you're doing it yourself, you'll get a deal. 1 out of 200. Do you guys have an idea how many realtors you have to talk to?
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
When I initially tell people to build an army, it starts at 300. I run like a 5-tier system.
Yeah.
And it basically goes from anywhere from your first outreach to them, to them sending you deals, to the long story of the last tier is when they're like your MVP, bringing you at least more than one property a year.
So 5-tier, first reach.
As outreach. The second tier from there, I'd have to double check the notes, but it's basically like them taking some kind of initial action of sending you property. Then from the third tier would be the ones that are like potential deals, like they send you something that's actually has some potential. Then the fourth one would be closing a deal. Then the fifth one would be multiple deals. And out of the 300, you really narrow it down to that fifth tier of your MVPs is probably about like 5 to 10 agents. So
love it. So 5 to 10 agents out of 300.
5 to 10, and those are supposed to be your MVPs, and that's just only 2 deals a year.
And that's sending you deals.
Sending you deals.
This is this on market, or are they sending it to you before they're on the market?
Some of them are sending us properties that are on market that maybe my team missed, or it's in a market that I'm not in specifically like targeting, or it could be off market pocket listings that they have.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
Guys, if you have questions about that, let us know. Let's rip this thing open. Because I'm curious to see how that lands. I'm really curious to see as people are watching this, if they're like, I can't do that. Realtor, I feel like I'm just getting into this. Realtors are very scary to me. Those guys have their license. They've kind of got the door open.
A lot of people I do coach, like they were saying that was one of their biggest hurdles was like these realtors, like either. Perfect question for it right here, and let's just jump right into it. I'm trying to start a relationship with a realtor. How do I go up to him and build that? So, Kevin, solid question. What you want to do is understand that you need to bring them value. Again, me being a traditional agent, I could tell you that the mindset an agent's going to have is that the hardest part of their business is finding a client. So if you come to them saying, hey, I want to wholesale properties, they may get turned off. They may get scared. They may be intimidated because they don't know what that means. The minute you would go up to anybody in their profession, you bring up something that they're not familiar with, their first initial reaction is going to be to like kick back and be like, I can't do that. I'm not sure how to do that. Or they may even just say my broker doesn't allow it because that's the usual comment.
Yeah.
What I would say is go to them and tell them you're a cash buyer. I would like to buy anywhere from 3 to 5 properties a month with you. I'm doing this currently, but I'm looking for a realtor that I can work exclusively with. The minute you use the wording like that, the realtor should be like, oh my gosh, this is a unicorn that just popped up in my life. You want that realtor feeling like they have to go to bat for you and find properties on your behalf, because the minute they do, it's in their best benefit. So obviously, whether it's them representing you in the transaction, whether it's them finding the seller off market and bringing it to you and you cutting them in on a wholesale fee or just paying their commission, whatever it is, you could structure it a million different ways. The key here is bringing value to them.
Perfect. Yeah, totally agree. And it's just communicating. It's just,
of course.
It's reps.
Of course.
It's
of course.
You start building, you start getting comfortable with people and building a true relationship. The more reps you have in front of them,
right.
The more communication you have, the more text you have, the more
right.
conversations you have.
Of course.
You know what I mean? As a real estate agent, you've got a million different people calling you for a million different reasons all over the place, and you're not really sure, who's going to stay in your life and who's going to move. And a realtor's job really is to reach out,
of course,
to their database of people if they're really good and see if they're looking to buy, see if they're looking to sell. So
right.
if you flip that on its head and over communicate to the agent, you are going to be their superstar. What do you call the last one?
MVP.
MVP.
Yeah.
You are going to be their MVP for sure.
Well, and I mean, what people don't realize too is like, what you got to understand is I'm going from 300 to 5.
Right.
So if you think that you're going to go message 300 agents and 300 agents are going to drop everything,
right.
They're not going to.
It's not going to happen.
So that's why I'm telling you, out of 300 of them, looking for a handful.
That's awesome.
You could do that.
But the beautiful thing here in Maricopa County is we have
too many.
We have 60,000 licensed people. So it's literally
that's just in the valley. That's just in the valley.
It's literally an ocean of agents. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Albert, when you're reaching out, are you reaching out as well, or is it mostly Ryan?
No, I'm reaching out too. It just it depends on the deal. You know what I mean? If there's a special finer touch
Matt, will you switch it over to him?
Yeah, I just don't have his mic for some reason.
It's not on?
They turned it on, but it was working earlier. I'll look at that.
Okay.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back to it. All right. Hamilton. Ryan, when talking to a real estate agent about lowering the price for a distressed property on market, how do you negotiate with the agent and seller to lower the price? First of all, you're not negotiating with the seller directly.
Right.
You
just
are negotiating with the agent.
Just with the agent. I would say there's a few things I'd ask you here. One would be if you're licensed, because if you're licensed, it'd be a completely different approach. Assuming that you're not, though, most people not being licensed, what you'll want to understand is that there's two things you can do to get them to lower the price. Option one is if you're familiar with the contracts and representing yourself, you could go unrepresented in the transaction. You'd want to specifically make sure, though, because remember, I talked about this a couple episodes ago, the listing agent and the seller have a signed listing contract that states that they're going to pay a full 5 to 6% commission. If you're going unrepresented, that listing agent technically could take that full 6%, where when I'm saying go unrepresented, you're putting that buyer's agent commission back in the seller's pocket. So it's essentially putting more equity back in the seller's pocket, giving you a little bit of leverage on the negotiations. Option two, dual agency, have that listing agent represent you in the transaction, and they would be able to kind of tell you where you need to be. The line I like to use with that is when you're talking to the listing agent, and let's just say you're like, hey, I want you to represent me as the buyer. Typically, they're going to be jumping up and down, making twice as much money. You can then ask them where your price needs to be.
Love it.
So.
Yeah, and Hamilton, remember, it's the same as negotiating with anything else, right? It comes down to certainty and likability, right? Just from a approach standpoint, right? Because we think about, oftentimes when I get a question like this, people are wondering, is there certain things that we can say? Is there certain approaches that we can hit them with to try to get a bigger reduction or to, kind of put our case out there for why the seller should take this lowered price? And really, certainty and likability, explaining what's going on and explaining why you need to get that lower price is going to be absolutely key. And if you do that without hemming and hawing and without kind of just mailing it in and just being like, hey, we got to cancel unless we can get it at this price, that's the easy route. What I would say is have a conversation with them and see if there is potential for them to move. And if there's no other offers, typically they're going to play ball with you on some level. Now, if they've got 3 multiple backup offers, or you put an offer in and your agent was cool, but they had to put it on the market anyway because their broker requires it, and they have 15 people that will buy this in a heartbeat, they are not going to budge.
They're not going to budge. Yeah.
So it is a case by case. You need to communicate again with the agent enough so that you can get that insider information on whether or not they've got whether or not you have competition with that offer.
It goes back to finding pain, right? We're just trying to find what's their motivation to sell, and half the time, from what our experience is talking to agents, we're not trying to sell the price why it's so low. We're trying to sell the value of our offer
as opposed
to
conventional
as cash
FHA,
as is, and it's quick and close with us. We're trying to sell the convenience and the value versus like, hey, the price is low, but other way around, sell the value.
That's another piece to add in there, just terms. If there's ever a situation where you're trying to get a lower price, figure out what like Albert said, what the situation is with the seller, and then the terms will align with whatever the seller's motivation is.
Awesome.
Good questions.
Mm-hmm. I love Starburst 2, 143. No. 143 is, what is 143?
I love you.
Is
I
it?
love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I think so.
1 word, 4 syllables, 3 letters or something. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or 3 words, or I don't know. Yeah. 143. I have a seller whose husband is a realtor. He wants us to use his preferred closing attorney. Should I comply?
I'm not opposed to that. What you'll want to do is have a conversation with the closing attorney and make sure they're familiar with wholesaling, double closes, assignments. They may ask for a copy of your paperwork to review. You may have to walk them through what the process looks like. But what you want to make sure is that you're not scaring the realtor by saying, let me talk to them. It's just that you have to do your due diligence to yourself, making sure that you're not going to get set up with a realtor that has a closing attorney that doesn't support what you're trying to do. So.
Would you say there's comfort in working with people you already know, have done business with before? Oh my
gosh, dude. I mean, we could talk about that deal that we've got closing. And actually, another one of our deals that closed this week. It was a flip. We just bought it, and we used a title company that is usually spot on, but it was a different branch. And it was a nightmare. So it's like you don't realize. Fortunately, they were able to get the deal done and everything, but I mean, we closed late. Nobody was organized. They didn't communicate. and it just added a lot of extra roadblocks in a transaction that should have been much smoother. So,
yeah, it just depends, on most of these wholesale transactions, or just these deals that we're looking that are discounted. The buyer pays the closing costs. So typically these are net offers when we're going direct to the seller. So the buyer is paying all the closing costs. So one conversation you can have is, hey, listen, we're paying all the closing costs, so I'd prefer to use my closing attorney because I work with them. They know me.
Yep.
They know the process, and I get a discount, and that helps us out on the cost, and it makes us give you more money for the deal, and it makes all the numbers work out better. So I'd prefer to use my closing attorney.
Yep.
So
that line works
yeah.
beautifully. We've used that quite a few times.
Yep. Nice.
Ooh.
Forever Mona, go ahead.
After receiving your real estate license, do you need to work a realty company in order to do deals getting paid as a wholesaler and a realtor, or can you start fresh obtaining the real estate license? Good question. So you do need to work with a real estate company. It's going to be called a brokerage. You're going to have to hang your license under a brokerage for a minimum of, it depends on the state, and each one has different rules, but it's usually 2 to 3 years. What you'll want to understand too, as a realtor, your commission is the only thing that is paid to your brokerage. The brokerage then has a split agreement with you, and they pay you out. Title pays your broker, broker pays you. As for wholesale fees, that goes directly to your person or your LLC. Your brokerage is not involved in that at all.
So basically, the commissions go through the brokerage. Assignment fee goes to a different company.
Yep.
And I believe you own it, Albert, right?
We have
co-own it.
We have 34 Holdings as our investment company, and then
Right
23 Investments is like a leg of it. So
Yeah.
that's where we put all of our flips, and that's
Sure.
Albert's LLC.
Got it.
So all of our flips are owned in Albert's LLC, and then we've done a few assignment fees.
The
through
commissions come to you.
to Stunning Homes Realty,
Right.
and they get paid
Right.
out to the Zolin Group, and the Zolin Group disperses to the team.
So, Mona, you have to hang your license with a broker, and then from there, just have that conversation on what your game plan is, and find a wholesaling friendly broker.
brokerage. Yep. And if they do not support it, find a different broker.
Yeah. JC Wholesale. What should I say if an agent wants me to sign an exclusive contract with them?
This is a
That
solid
is classic.
question.
Wow.
Solid question.
We've got a lot. You opened up a lot of questions on this whole realtor thing. I love it. This is great.
Good. I have no problem signing an exclusive contract with a realtor as long as it's specifically stated inside that contract it is only for the deal that they sent to me. So like it's not withholding me from going and buying other on-market properties, because what they can hide in there with an exclusive contract like that, it's called a buyer broker, or it'd be even an exclusive agency where they could be employing themselves to be your agent on any deal that you buy or anything that's on the MLS. So imagine like for my business model, if I'm buying about 10 off the MLS every month, if I sign
Run away from this agent.
that too.
Right? I mean, for real. Hey, listen, if they're trying to do that, one, they just might just tell them no. And if they're really insistent on it, then this is not the agent that's going to ever bring you a deal. I am telling you, they're trying to lock you up and send you a bunch of MLS listings that'll never fit what you're looking for and tie you down. So I wouldn't.
I've got a little bit of a counter here.
Yeah.
I had this happen on one deal in Tucson where this agent, she was the listing agent, and I represented myself in the transaction, but she represented us, but I was able to get the commission reduced. It's a whole creative transaction. But she had me sign an exclusive contract with her, and it was basically just the buyer broker. But I had it specified in there. It was only for that one.
Yep.
Granted, keep in mind that was the one and only deal I've done with her.
Yeah.
But I signed it. I was able to get the deal done, and then we ended up making like 15 on that one.
Was it on the market?
It was.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't her
So-
bringing you deals.
No, she was the listing agent on it though. But it was like
most of these agents that want to sign exclusive contracts with you,
They don't
want
have the
to
listing.
be the buyer broker agreement.
Right.
That means that they get paid if you buy anything off the MLS.
Right.
So it's just don't sign that. I mean, I'm just saying. Listen, this is like.
I'm very well
You're
versed,
like
well
at
versed,
doctor
very
level.
well versed, yes.
You got a PhD in this. If you're starting out and building your 5 from the 300 that you're talking to.
Right.
There's
That-
299 more
Yep.
agents that you should be speaking to. One of which is just the best agents are going to be the ones that just want to slang these deals. They want to get them done fast. They're working in kind of the lower end markets, not too low, but lower end. They just want to get rid of these deals. They
Right.
want to get it going. So find those people that are in the up and coming areas, but they're still like lower to middle price points. And then as you start advancing and getting understanding and getting, all your systems in place and working with these agents, then start bumping it up like these guys in these $400,000 range.
I mean, would you say that agents like these, they're more concerned about their own needs versus a potential cash buyer client need?
1,000%. Listen, I have been licensed since '04. They taught me you need to get a buyer-broker agreement with everybody that you talk to, because somebody could walk into an open house and buy a property and you wanted to represent them, but because they went to that house first, this listing agent is going to get the initial contact or whatever it is.
Legality of whatever ethics,
getting the deal, and so.
And that's still to this day true. They
Right.
teach you that in Albert. I mean, you can even touch on that being newer out of real estate school. Like, that's one of the biggest catches that I was taught when I first got in between Keller Williams and the second brokerage I was at, that they were like, you need the buyer brokers. So again, going back to understanding how these agents think, that's not an uncommon question, JC, that you're going to get asked by some agents. Quite frankly, I agree that if they're newer, run. But
Yeah. Awesome question.
good stuff. Good stuff.
We're deep diving this stuff, so I mean, if you have further questions, please ask them. What kind of assets are you investing in, Robert? I love that question. Look at that. So I'll go first, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Robert, what I like to do is I like to save up a bunch of cash and buy properties cash in Phoenix here. It is terrible for leverage. It makes no financial sense if you really look at it from a standpoint of I could buy, if an investment property you only need 20% down to buy, I can buy 5 times as many properties. It would be a smarter plan. But the reason that I buy properties cash, and now this year I bought a significant commercial property, is because my mindset and my lifestyle are exactly, it is like I'm living the life that I want. And the reason for that is I don't have headaches from the assets that I buy. And so I know that if the money's in the account, I'm going to, start thinking creatively and start being like, well, this opportunity is available, this opportunity is available, this opportunity is available. So I try to get it out of the account as I can and buy these properties cash. And then if I need to pull that money out, I will. The other thing that I am doing, I really need to figure out how to really pour some gasoline on this, is lending to people doing private money lending.
There you go.
I haven't really pulled it. I've invested in 2 incredible entrepreneurs that are paying 10% interest, and I just invested into their business.
Wow.
So that's not like I'm lending on a property, because I don't have a license to do that. But I am interested in being the bank. That's my big plan for big income in the future, is to be the bank. The bank is, look. Who owns the best real estate in the country? It's like the bank.
Right.
It is the bank. That and
it's
McDonald's. But it's the banks. Go in any city in America and go look at the fanciest buildings. It's going to be a bank brokerage. And you're like, it's going to be a bank, just whatever. It's going to be a Bank of America or a Chase Bank or one of these other banks. And the reason is it's when people are paying you interest, you win.
Absolutely.
And that way you don't have to buy a ton of assets. You don't have to worry about building a big portfolio. And that's what really gets me excited. Not to say that building a big portfolio isn't something that I'm doing as well, but I'm really excited about lending out.
For sure.
Starting a bank.
So for me, I invest into real estate. I'm big on tangible. So I'm not the guy that's going to be talking about crypto. I'm not going to be talking about stocks. The one piece of that I am kind of intrigued in that we can talk about on another episode is the NFTs. I don't know if are you? Of
course.
So I'm big into learning more about that at the current moment. But as for what I am invested in, it is real estate. I actually am a private money investor in a couple of deals as well, a creative finance deal, and then just similar situation, just lending out money for small 10% returns. Aside from that, this is kind of a cheesy one, but I invest a lot into personal development. I'm big on mindset being an asset of mine. So I pour into my personal development. It's usually about like $30,000 a year.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, coaching, health,
dude,
of
without
that.
a doubt. Personal trainers.
Come on, I mean, just a coach in every aspect.
Yep.
So
you got to get you need somebody that's gonna hold you accountable in different areas of your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Red Bull 10 10 10 10 4 10s. Nice. Brent, the numbers I got from skip tracing don't work. What should I do? I've door knocked and also left a postcard at their house. Well, it just depends. It depends on where you got the skip tracing. Obviously, batchskiptracing.com is where you should be going. Batchskiptracing.com. Don't pull them off of like White Pages. Don't pull them off of Intellius. Don't pay 3 cents an address for somebody that's on Upwork or Fiverr or whatever else. You need to get really, really, really good data. It's going to be at batchskiptracing.com. Make sure TTP coupon code in there gets you the discount. All right, gets you discounts throughout the year. So I love that you door knocked. That's fantastic. I wouldn't leave a postcard. I would leave a sticky note that literally says whatever your first name is, Red Bull. Let's say your name's Bull, whatever. I would say, call me, your number, Bull. That's all I would put. I would put that on a Post-it note on one of those. It's like it's this shape. It's like a rectangle shape, but it's like maybe like a 3x5, and it's like the yellow lines like a
3x5
yellow
almost.
pad.
Right,
yeah, and then they just stick boom right
Yep.
to the door and see if that's going to get more people curious and they'll call you. And then you can have that conversation. But listen, if the front door is closed, go through the window. For sure. I mean, not literally when you're door knocking, obviously. But like, if you can't get a hold of them on the phone, you got to try some other way. Jeez, that was positioned wrong. But yeah, there you go. Lobson, there he is. Go ahead.
I got 2 guys in Cancun that I've trained to cold call. How do I go about paying them? Do I need to open a bank account in MX in order to add them to the payroll? Wow. So, I mean, this is more, I'm assuming, for VA wise. What was your structure? We were talking about that before the show. You had your whole tree going down. What are you paying your cold calls?
Well, I pay companies. So we've got call motivated sellers that have the expatriates, right? The Americans living abroad,
right?
And they do a phenomenal job. They've been with us for 3.5 years, and then we have calling reps, which is out of the Philippines. They're not the companies here, so we just pay the companies, and that makes it easy. So if I would wonder how you found them. Typically, if they're on Upwork, it goes through Upwork, and they handle that. If you're going to find your own, which I don't suggest you do, but some people like finding their own, I would go through one of those websites. I wouldn't just put an ad out. In Cancun and have somebody respond to it, or I would see I would ask them, how do I get the money to you? So and that should be a way to do that, whether it's PayPal.
Yeah, I was just to say we did
something
PayPal.
Else. It just depends. PayPal gets goofy sometimes when
definitely
it goes overseas.
does. Well, and it transitions. So we did the difference of where we could convert it from US dollars to their currency, and I mean there was always a fee that came in with it too with PayPal. So I mean that's how we did it. I don't recommend that though.
Yeah, there you go. Looks like he's a DJ or a rapper. That's cool.
That's what's up.
Blake Vega out of Houston. Hey, Brent, I'm using Mojo Dialer to call, and sellers tell me that the caller ID says spam risk. Yeah. What you have to do is you have to switch up your caller ID all the time. That's why we switched to Batch Dialer. They give you 10 numbers that it goes through so that it helps reduce that. The other thing is if you need to get new numbers, if you're going to stick with Mojo, go into CallRail, and CallRail for a couple bucks a month per number, you can buy several numbers and switch them out on a weekly basis. You got to keep them fresh, Blake. Yep. Samuel.
How do you buy 10 off the MLS every month? Are you wholesaling them? Yeah, so we wholesale and flip. We haven't really done too many wholesales, but we just take them, get them under contract. We'll assign them out, get the commission plus the assignment fee, and then obviously if we flip it, we get paid the commission to buy it, and then we take them down. So, I mean, Albert, is there anything I'm missing on that you want to add in?
No, that was rock solid.
Yep.
Exactly what we do. T for T.
You got it.
10 deals a month.
Give or take. I mean, our slow months are about like 3 to 5. Our
Yeah.
good months could be 15
Awesome.
plus.
Do you want us to take the Jerry Norton approach by double dipping with real estate agents to make offers on the MLS, or building relationships with buyer agents to make offers on the MLS, or both?
I would say both. I mean, the double dipping approach, I don't know Jerry Norton's model too much.
I
By
don't
the
either.
double dipping, I'm assuming you're referring to the listing agent getting twice as much commission with the
Yep.
dual agency.
Yep.
What I refer to with my method of double dipping is getting commission plus an assignment fee. So that's I think the difference between our two double dipping terms. As for if you're asking me to have the listing agent do it, or if you should have buyer's agents do it, you answered it right at the end. I'd do both. When you're creating an army, you want people that are going to be specifically finding a bunch of listings. You're going to want people that are maybe buyer's agents that just have a really good knack of working with listing agents, kind of like what we do, that can negotiate really well and find you opportunities on the MLS.
Awesome.
So,
Yep. Hamilton. Just like on market and off market, if there's any offers presented, how do you stand out by offering great value and service from the competition? Fantastic.
what did you say earlier? It was likability and
Certainty and likability
Certainty.
are the two most important. That's what you want your voice to sound like over the phone. All right? Like, pull it all back, and if you are communicating with enthusiasm and you're not blowing them out with like a bunch of bombastic, like, I'm so great, I do all these things, and blah, 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 blah. If you're there and you're very likable and you're certain that you can get these deals done, agents are going to really, like, you're going to stand out in the agent's mind.
Right.
Now, if you try to go there and you're trying to be aggressive with them, or you go there and you're trying to, and you're texting them and it's all misspelled and it's all right and it's
Right.
all sloppy and it's all, this is something that I should do a whole freaking episode on how to text right, seriously. Because listen, if you start texting all that, you know, real quick, emoji, crazy, you know, cutting words down, misspelling them, going too fast and sending it to agents, they're going to be like, this guy is an idiot.
Yep.
This gal is so ridiculous. This is just things to come. They're not going to be able to get through this transaction. You need to be spot on, professional with your text messaging. All right? Even with the words that you're using when you are calling up and talking to anybody.
Right.
All right? The words that we use are like dictate our whole life, I'm telling you. So you need to be able to build up the vocabulary of somebody that has that certainty and likability. And that's just going through and reps and reps and reps and reps. Watch this channel all the time. You're going to get the vernacular. You're going to get the words. You're going to get the skills and the tools to be able to be effective. And the scripts and everything else, obviously, you've got access to that at TTP Insider. But listen, be clean. Be clean and professional and take it up another notch. I am telling you, that sets you apart. I remember just being an agent and just listing properties. Even before I got into wholesaling, people send me crazy text messages that were like completely like, what is going on here? I would ignore. I would just ignore. I'd be like, this is a crazy person.
Right.
Like, there's no way that they're going to get this deal across the finish line.
Without
They
a
seem
doubt.
like they're trying to run something.
You have
here,
that
they
radar.
Work for somebody. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be professional with the way that you text. Especially, this is perfect for this show because the 17, 18 to under 30, you know, just being sloppy and not really being familiar with communicating in a professional setting, you need to start building those skills right now because it's going to set you apart.
Attention to detail.
Could you imagine if you texted like a crazy person?
Dude, are you kidding? I used to back in like high school, middle school.
Right.
Like you'd say "you" is like literally the letter U.
Right.
Like talk to you later, TTYL. Like
Right.
you can't just abbreviate stuff. You got to understand that, especially the people that have these kind of assets that they're selling are typically, 40 and up.
Yes.
So if they're 40 and up, there's a good chance they're sitting there texting like. They're not gonna be sitting there reading a novel. Like know who you're talking to. That's why best method's always picking up the phone.
Well, pick up the phone and listen. If they won't answer, take your time.
So yeah, take your time.
Understand punctuation. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
But listen, there's
No-
spell check on all of our phones.
Yep.
There's,
Yep.
just slow it down.
No talk to
Before
text.
you
No talk to
send
text.
a text, read the text first. Don't go blah, 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 boom, and send. Right, Alejandra? I know. All right, next. Brandon, there he is. Will title companies typically send you a list of recent cash transactions so you can pull the buyers from out of it? No,
Yeah, they're not gonna.
not
do that.
really. One, they don't want to do that extra work, Brandon. I mean, maybe. But two, they really don't have great resources for it. They have something called Black Knight, which is interesting, that most of the title companies use to like try to get clients by telling them that they can get pre-foreclosure data or some of this other data. But Black Knight is notoriously terrible.
Yeah.
It just is. It's just not accurate. It's watered down, and it's just not. It's
The best thing you can get out of this situation, we actually just did on Monday, I believe, Albert, right? Where you can ask the title company who their best buyers are. Like, hey, who does a lot of transactions here that I should know? That would be the best piece that the title officer could give you based from buyers. But even so, I mean, they gave us a name and they said figured out the rest. So, yeah. From
Carlos Gonzalez. We need to do a show on how to text properly. I'm telling you, you should see. I mean, I just know. I really think it's a huge advantage for people to watch this specific show. Get ideas coming from you on how to get these deals outside of the traditional methods.
For sure.
But you have to clean. You got to be professional when you're dealing with somebody that's representing somebody else.
Oh, without
now,
a doubt.
listen, if a property owner is texting you all crazy and they're all wild and they're all over the place, you still have to be You have to be more professional than them.
Without
But you
a doubt,
can
yeah.
get into the zone with them. You can communicate with them a little bit.
Right.
Just remember, any word over text, any kind of weird little punctuation, any weird emoji could be taken the wrong way.
Seriously.
So you need to always
No
think,
tone.
will this word mean something else to them?
Right.
Will the way that I'm approaching this, be the best way to do this? I love saying stuff like absolutely, of course. I love the active listening part of it. I think it's important to set yourself apart with texting. That's
Absolutely.
interesting. Carlos, I'm not sure if you guys answered this already, but if I tell the agent to represent me as the buyer, does the seller pay the commission?
Absolutely, Carlos.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I mean, here's the thing. If it's listed, for sure. If it is unlisted, it just depends.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
If the agent represents you as the buyer, and maybe they know that this listing is coming up, and they're going to be able to get this listing, or this person is interviewing different agents for the job of selling their home,
Yep.
and your agent knows that they have you in their back pocket, they can go, listen, I'll tell you what, I have a buyer right now that'll pay cash as is. Let me talk to him. Let me get a buy price. Let me see if the price that you want, he'll be
Makes
able to
sense.
do it. If so, are you willing to pay just 3% to me, and you don't have to pay the full 6% that everybody else is going to charge you? That's a huge advantage for listing agents, right? If they're going up and they see that this property needs renovation, it
Right.
needs updating, it needs total reconstruction, whatever it is, they're walking into this and they have you as in their back pocket. They can still beat out all the other competition because it saves money for that seller. The seller now only has to pay 3%, or they say, hey, listen, what if it doesn't cost you anything to list the property? My buyer will pay me, but I need to
Right.
get it at this price. Does that make sense to you? And they say yes.
Then-
Now they feel they're getting their house sold, and they don't have to pay agents. They're feeling good about that. It's going smooth, and not a lot of people are going through the property. It's not hitting the market. All of these things. There's a lot of different tweaks here.
Right.
That should be another show that we have, different tweaks on how agents can go to work for us.
Absolutely. I
That'd
like
be
that.
awesome. Yeah.
Making win-win situations.
Yeah. We're making win-win shows coming up.
I like it.
There's like 15, I mean, maybe not 15 ways, but I mean, we've counted probably 4 different ways to make money with real estate agents. And, and that relationship, how many different options, how many different tools they can pull out when it comes to a property that could be a really good deal. Not just making offers on MLS deals, but building that 5 out of 3
utilizing a real estate
relationships
agent
with those agents.
Yep. Money.
Woo!
Money.
What do you guys recommend for a good lead service? Your mouth. That's what I recommend. Your efforts. That's what I recommend. Your consistency. You picking up the phone and either calling agents or ugly property owners. That's a lead service. That's it. I assume you meant something else, but the way that this is written, a good lead service is you. There's not going to be somebody that you pay and they give you leads that you close on a consistent basis that cost you less than, $7,000 a deal.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now. It's on you.
Spot on.
Right?
I mean, my best answer here is the MLS.
Yeah.
So, Zillow, go find realtors.
Yeah.
But
awesome. Corey Grant, TTP fam, there he is.
boom.
1 in escrow, $3K earnest, and
Money received.
Money received, yeah. Yep. $87.50 at closing. First deal on my own. The owner and I split a $2,500 finder's fee to another wholesaler who brought the buyer. Couldn't have done it without TTP. Come on, Corey.
Get that bell.
Here we go. We're doing a
Yeah, right. Get that thing away from me. There we go.
There we go.
What's
for
up?
Everybody's earballs. Congratulations, Corey. Keep that momentum going, brother. I love it. That's incredible.
That's what's up.
Celebrate.
Congrats, dude.
That's awesome. Maurice.
What's the best way to handle driver/red personality sellers?
Love it.
For me, it's matching their energy. Like that's exactly it.
Mirror and match.
Mirror and match.
Yep.
I was just gonna say it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the best advice I could say to you. Understanding that a lot of times they are a no BS, quick. They're usually gonna want one thing and one thing only, and it's gonna be a price. So by then, if I know I've got someone that has that like a driver personality, I'm gonna flip it on them and I'm gonna say, okay, my price is between here and here. I could probably get that up a little bit if I could come see it in person. Because then if I get the appointment, then I walk in there, I didn't tell them I was a real estate agent, and then if they want too much for the offer or for the price of the house, then I can flip it around and make it a listing appointment, but I'm at least face-to-face in front of the seller.
Love it. Yeah, Maurice, here's the thing. I mean, and we kind of broke this down, and I love that you brought this up because I think that you participated and were there for Monday's wholesale hotline, which was phenomenal. And we talked about the different personality types. You're going to find a lot of the drivers. You got to smack them right between the eyes. You got to hit them with facts, and you got to be like, listen, when we move forward, this is going to be a done deal. You don't have to worry about this anymore. So it's really, really communicating to them that, listen, this is the solution to your problems. Take it or leave it. Because drivers are they're difficult personalities to deal with. They truly are. I mean, you see a lot of these people that are big type business people, very low on emotion. Very, very, very low on emotion. Right. So because of that, they're going to be straight to the point. They're not going to be worried about hurting feelings. So you need to communicate the way that they want to be communicated with. And it's not like you can let them be the alpha. That's fine. Yep. But you got to smack them between the eyes with, this is where I'm at, take it or leave it. And they can make that decision and feel good about it. It actually makes the relationship better when you make them feel like they're the alpha, even if it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, let them do it, right? And just be like, yeah, bro, yeah, absolutely, you got it. When
they ask for that inspection period to be 5 days instead of 10, you're like, you got me. All right, yes.
Fine.
Let them have the wins.
Best I can do is 7 days, but 3 days off. I mean, you
lose the battle to win the war.
Me up.
Right.
You're beating me up good here.
Right.
Jeez Louise, why do I keep bending to you? You're incredible.
I love it. I love it.
You know what? They love that.
Seriously.
You really got to play in their ego sometimes.
Absolutely.
You really got to.
You have to. There you go. Boom. Anthony McNichols says, do you ever use the escalation clause in your offers? Anthony, we've got some high-level audience today. We've got some great questions. An escalation clause. Will you explain to people what an escalation clause is?
Absolutely. So first off, shout out if this is Anthony McNichols out in California. He was another one of the guys that flew out to meet us. So
that's why he's so smart.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Of course. Okay.
That's why he's got the experience.
So an escalation clause, it is basically, think of it like an addendum to a purchase contract. However, the addendum states that you can go up to a certain purchase price amount, matching or beating whatever other offers on the table. So for example, like let's say I were to put an offer at $250,000, but I put an escalation on there up to $260,000, exceeding $1,000 over any other bona fide offer, which is super important to state. A bona fide offer means that it's a written offer that you could actually see that's presented to the seller. But then let's say in that example there was another offer on the table at $259,000. So my initial offer is $250,000. However, if there's another offer on the table at $259,000, my escalation goes up to $260,000 and will beat that other offer by $1,000. That means my escalation clause is now being enforced. My offer is $260,000. All other terms and conditions to be the same. So that is an escalation clause. Do we use them? Absolutely. We usually do about 3 to 5 of our offers per month usually have this in them.
Really?
Yeah, and it's usually on the newer properties that hit the market. So they'll hit the market and we know there's gonna be like 10 other offers.
Yeah.
We'll throw an escalation clause in there, understanding 9 times out of 10 I'm probably not gonna get it.
Right.
But at least I have what I'm willing to go up to. So I have where my offer is if there's no other offer on the table, and then it will go up to a certain amount if there is those offers. So.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Anthony. Listen, this is I learned this technique in 2005, believe it or not. And I thought this was slick. I was like, oh, baby, I am going to be able to beat out every other offer. And then I realized every single time that I did this, they were like, I was like, I'm going to give you an offer at $250 with an escalation clause at $260. And they're like, why wouldn't you just give us $260? Wouldn't that be your highest and best? I mean, we got multiple offers here. Is $260 your highest and best?
Right.
And I was like,
yeah,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So why didn't you come in at $260? Are you trying to get a better deal while there's competition on this and it getting bid up, and I would lose out? So it just depends. I think that if you've got, escalation clause is not the silver bullet that you truly think it is in most cases. Like you were saying, 9 out of 10, I think you probably would have gotten that deal anyway. But maybe not. Maybe it was the extra $1,000 that got.
We've only had a handful of this year that were successfully done because of an escalation clause, and the only difference that actually occurred with the escalation clause deal was that the agent liked us more. So it was more of a courtesy where they call us and they say, "Hey, I did get another offer here." You 9 times out of 10 will also see this in the instance where we're writing offers on properties on Thursday, and they're saying we will review all offers on Monday.
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, here's my escalation clause, and then of course, miraculously over the weekend there came in 2 other offers. Of
course.
So then they say, okay, well now we have to execute your escalation clause.
Or they go highest and best to everybody.
Exactly.
And then you're at 260 anyway.
260 anyway. Yep.
So listen, escalation clause, it sounds really sexy, and I think it works better with property owners, honestly, than it does with agents, because agents are just like, it's exposed to the whole market. So there's going to be typically multiple people coming after it. That's the reason you would put in escalation clauses, and is if you have competition. But if you're going straight to a property owner and you guys are there's a couple different buyers in the mix, and straight to the buyer, straight to the property owner, you go, hey, listen, I'll go $1,000 over whatever offer you get in writing. Up to a certain point, they're like, "Wow, okay, interesting." Yep. Now,
just gotta make sure that
when they tell that other buyer, "Hey, listen, he's got an escalation point to this price,
up to this amount," and then they're like,
they go, "Okay, well,
we'll come up and we'll beat that.
We'll beat you by $50 or $500 or something." So I mean, it plays both ways. It's a little bit more impactful to the seller, because sellers. They almost get like this like shot of adrenaline from it. They get to tell people at barbecues that this buyer would give me $1,000 above anything else that I got, and their property was sold really fast, and it was really cool, and it was unique, and this is interesting. But beyond people talking at barbecues one time, I don't think escalation clauses are okay. It gives you more of an advantage if not, but I would suggest you just hit them with your best offer that you can, and if it doesn't make sense, then you move on. But hopefully it's enough to get them to work with you. Good.
From Cohen. Which lists have been the most effective for you both? Distressed properties, tax delinquent, maybe probate, and where do you get these lists? So for us, we have a lot of success with probate. And then one of my personal favorite lists that I really targeted in the past, again, keep in mind, we're just now re-ramping up our direct-to-seller method. But what I had a lot of success in the past with, you can hit up title companies and they will send you lists. My best list actually was the pre-foreclosure that was 2 to 3 weeks out from its auction date. So it wasn't a specific pre-foreclosure list. These were people that, what we came across usually with pre-foreclosure deals was that most of the sellers were not even just wanting high price points. They were in denial. Yeah. They were in this mindset of like, it's not that bad. I'm good. Everything is fine. The world is fine. 2 to 3 weeks out from their auction date, feet are a little bit more to the fire. So if there's going to be a time where they're going to accept it and make something happen, it's going to be then. So that was my best list. And then, like I said, probate we've had a lot of success with. So...
yeah, driving for dollars, obviously. I mean, if it's an ugly house, they have distress. You know, just tired landlords, you know, people that have owned properties for at least 7 years and the property was built before 1990. You want older properties and you want them owned for a while. Those are the best. And then obviously going after these niche lists. The issue with niche lists, Cohen, is you can call through and get through a niche list in about 30 minutes a week.
Right.
So, or maybe an hour a
They're
week.
Very small.
What do you
lists.
do with the rest of your week? So you got to pad your efforts that you're going to put into being proactive with bigger lists, and that's typically going to come from tired landlord or owner occupied with equity lists.
Tired landlord's another good one.
Yeah.
We've pulled some big rips on that.
Multifamily, vacant land, those are all fantastic.
Right.
Yep. Bree, hey Brent, I'm an agent, and at what point do you tell me I'm an agent?
So I'm assuming they're talking about like when you're talking to the listing agent. At what point do you say, "Hey, I'm also an agent"?
Well, if it's a real estate agent, I tell them right away. This is Brent Daniels with Stunning Homes, right? You know, I'm not going to go Brent Daniels Chi-Chi-P. I'm not going to go Brent Daniels real estate investor. I'm going to tell them that I'm an agent right away if I'm speaking with an agent, because that makes them, they're like, oh, okay, cool. You're one of me, which is great, which opens the door. What do you guys?
We actually do the exact opposite.
Okay.
So I come into it saying, "Hey,
I'm the buyer.
I'm the buyer. I'm an investor here in whatever the city name is." I do that
awesome.
Just because I want to break down the walls.
That's right. You said that
of the seller, the seller's agent. At the point of when I decide to tell them that I'm the agent is once I've broken down the walls of the agent and I figured out the seller's situation the best that I could. And if anything, that seller's situation the best I could just be the condition of the house. It may not be the seller's moving to Idaho. The seller's got a house, they're building a cabin up north. It may not be something as detailed as that. But once I've established, okay, I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to go dual agency. I'm going to go unrepresented. I'm going to go seller finance. At that point, then I will tell them, okay, we'll have someone on our team that's licensed, write up the paperwork, or can you write the paperwork for us? Or we'll go unrepresented. Can you write it up? We'll write it up, whatever the case is. But yeah, it's by that. And sometimes it's not even me telling them that I'm an agent. It's somebody on my team that is. So I don't know if that's something your broker would recommend or be cool with, but that's our approach.
Now, let me ask you, and this is why you obviously do deals on the MLS and I don't. When you are reaching out as the buyer, how do you do that when you're submitting offers to them?
So by the time when I say like, hey, someone on my team will write the offer, it comes from our TC.
Do you call? You're filtering through the MLS. You're looking for opportunities. Do you call instantly, see what's going on, then send the offer?
It depends on
you're just sending offers automatically.
It depends. 9 times out of 10, what we've been doing recently is just sending offer, call after.
Right.
Because we're just, I think I was telling you this last
Thursday.
Thursday.
So they know you're an agent.
Comes from our TC. So they technically only see my LLC as the buyer.
Right.
Then one of the disclaimers on there is one or more members of 34 Holdings is a licensed agent.
Yep.
Whether or not they acknowledge it or care.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then you call them?
I'll call them or TC calls or they'll email back. But
got it.
And if they call, they're going to call the agent that submitted the offer. So they're usually calling.
And is your email a real estate agent email?
Yeah, hers is.
So
and then mine is coming from the business's email.
Got it.
So
But if you're reaching out to people to bring you deals, you
comes
know,
from my
or-
business email, not my real estate
and
email.
your call, are you guys reaching out to agents, the 300 to get 5? You're reaching out to agents saying, hey, I want to buy houses?
Correct.
And that's the conversation.
Correct.
That's when you're saying, I'm an investor.
I'm an investor.
It's not when you're sending in
Even
offers
when we call,
on the MLS.
even so, then we're saying we're the investor. Yeah.
And you're like, we just sent you the offer?
Yep.
But they know you're an agent.
If they put it together, yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I mean, how else? I mean, you don't see a lot of independent people putting together a 9-page,
So technically,
fully documented contracts.
The catch is that you see 34 Holdings as the buyer, so
Yeah.
it comes across as a clean offer from the Zolin group, which ironically has Ryan Zolin as the buyer.
Right.
But it's two separate companies. So
Got it.
they I don't know. It usually comes across pretty professional. I mean, Albert, you can chime in if you want, but I feel like the agents. they
It
don't
comes
really
across
see-
professional, and half the time when I call, I don't say I'm an agent. I don't even say I'm a buyer. I don't answer questions that weren't asked. If they didn't
Right.
ask me who I am, I won't answer it.
Right.
Because I don't give them any more information than what they want, because I may have scared them off by saying, oh, I'm an agent. That's like, okay, I can't get this listing.
Right.
Or I can't represent both sides.
Right.
But if I say I'm a buyer, that can be like, oh, wow, I have like 1 million of those. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I just say, hey, I'm interested in the property, and that just gets their ears perked up.
Yeah.
That's
perked
what
up
you
enough.
say. I'm interested in this property.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
start with, hey, is 123 Main Street, is that your listing, correct? And I 100% of the
We already
time,
know.
I know that answer
Yeah.
is yes,
Yeah.
but that got them to answer my question instantly.
Right. Yeah.
So now that opened up the conversation for me to ask more.
Yeah.
break down the walls.
Awesome. Do you have the agents? Do you get the red flags? Because after asking a question like that, and agents can go one of two ways, right? They could just keep opening it up and tell you about the property,
Oh,
how
yeah.
great it is, and how fantastic it is, or what the situation is. Some of them just crack right open.
Oh, yeah.
Other ones are like, are you interested in buying? Okay, great. Are you purchasing cash? Or are you
They
doing
start to qualify
conventional?
you.
Yeah, they're trying to qualify
I'm
me.
be
I'm
buying
like, no.
cash. Okay, is that private money or is that cash? Do you have proof of funds? Do you have this type of thing? I am telling you, if those agents start cracking those questions, run away.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, run away. They are going to, they're going to be either very inexperienced and not doing a lot of deals, so they really are doing it like the way that, has been taught in, the brokerage or the, whatever else, because they just don't have a ton of experience. Because you find the agents that sell a lot of deals, they
Yeah, they're
here's the
quick.
deal. It's fantastic. Do you want to buy it?
They're to the point.
Right?
Right.
Those are the ones that are like breaking it down, and they've, this is like their third career, and they just got their license like 3 years ago and have done 2 deals, and
Right.
this is like their, family member's house that they're selling or something. You're just
Right.
like, oh my gosh. Anyway. Dave King, should we in TTP just focus solely on lead generation, cold calling, and start to implement working with agents as we ramp up? Or would you say we should focus on the strategy as well? Well, Dave, in the program, in the training, I talk about the perfect schedule. Part of that schedule is 5 contacts with real estate agents a day. 5 contacts, and that's one for cash buyers, but also for getting referrals for opportunities. So it's baked into there. Obviously, I want most of your focuses on directly to the seller. But if you're finding that those lists are getting really, really chewed up, start putting more effort and more time into calling the agents that are representing these people and seeing if you can start building up your referral network. So, Dave, basically the way that it works is as we get started, we're reaching out, we're trying to find how to get these first deals. All right, this is if you're not licensed. This is if you're not going the route that Ryan did with getting these deals off the market. So if you're going directly towards them, at some point you build into your business, and this is both of our businesses, your network. Like your database,
Has
like
to.
your data. This is every business that has ever been built has a
Right.
database, has a group, a collection of people that they do business with or potentially will do business with. These are people that know, like, and trust you. They're going to refer you opportunities if the time comes. And if you are staying in front of them and asking them to send you these referrals
Absolutely.
as often as possible, letting them know that you are hungry, letting them know that you're ready, and responding to them very, very, very quickly. Not letting a text message ever go longer than an hour without responding. All right? And it should be a lot faster than that. It should be pretty much instantly if you can, unless you're an appointment or whatever else. Anyway, but you build up your network, your database, and all of a sudden you almost start, the tide starts turning. It started, proactive efforts are giving you all your income. All of a sudden you start getting some incredible referrals from people, and you build a business. I mean, that's how the biggest businesses, biggest wholesaling businesses by far, that's how they do them.
Absolutely.
Keegley, New Western, some of these other ones around the country, it's all referral based. It's
Absolutely.
all being
Has to be. It's your network.
Yeah, it's all the network. Awesome. Good question, Dave. But that's the evolution. Dennis.
What do you do for houses that owner passed and there are no relatives? Dude, I mean, that's a solid question. I would just figure out whoever the next heir is that would be, well, there's no relatives. It's going to be passed down to somebody. What would you do?
Goes to the state.
Yeah, it goes to the state. I had a tough situation. This one, it was the same situation. I couldn't find out who has the rights to the property next.
This was the one
just takes
by,
yeah, that just takes some investigative work after that one. Yeah, Dennis, for you, it's just investigative work. That's what I would say. I mean, like Brent said, it goes to the state, and if you can stop it before it hits the state, good for you. Otherwise, it's...
I'd probably just move on to the next.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough.
listen, if there's nobody to sign for ownership, Dennis, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So you can
Just
talk
move on.
to whoever's responsible
what I found?
in your city.
Neighbors.
Huh?
I just remember neighbors. Neighbors usually know a lot more about the house, especially if it's an older generation that lives there. They know their neighbor. They know what the situation is a little more than what Google or the internet can provide you.
Right.
So maybe talk to the neighbors next.
And it's really rare to find somebody that has no relatives.
Right.
But it happens. It definitely happens.
And they might have a will or something that's passing to someone else.
Somebody.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dennis, what I would try to do is I would go to the public records. I would search the person's name and see if there's any recorded wills. See if there's anything that would show,
point.
where this, what the intentions of the property were. Now, if they just wanted to give it back to the state or whatever, then maybe they love their state. I don't know. Marley.
Right. With a common name on a contract, what stops someone with the same name from stealing my deal if I mail it to the title company? That's a pretty big what if, and the odds of somebody else that has the same name stealing the deal from you, knowing that it's one specific title company, one specific address, I mean, you've got a better chance of probably getting hit by a car in that title company parking lot than that happening, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, Marley, they do something that's called an identity statement.
Yeah.
All right, so they make sure that the buyer and the seller are the buyer and seller that are on the contract.
Need your ID too.
So yeah, the title company takes care of that. That's the answer. I've never heard of anything like that happening. That would be crazy if you had like a crazy stalker with your name that was just stealing your deals at the title company. But the fact is, if you're the one calling the title company, first of all, don't mail.
Yeah, don't mail.
mail. Bring it to them, or
Email,
literally
yeah.
just take a picture with your phone and email it to the title company, and then follow it up with a call. And
but they also have your contact information too. So like,
Of course.
they want your email, they want your cell phone number, and then like you had said, all the identification processes. Like even when you go to sign, they have you pull out your ID. You have to sign in. They're all notaries. Like it's a pretty big
this
process.
actually something very similar to this happened.
Really?
As a matter of fact, it wasn't this, Marley, but I'll tell you a quick story. Ryan, common name, is my acquisition manager. He was working with an older gentleman and his son. A different Ryan called him the same day that we went, and that we were going to go out for the appointment. This Ryan set an earlier appointment. This guy thought that he was signing with our Ryan.
Oh, no.
Signed with a different Ryan.
Wow.
Then our Ryan went, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I just signed with Ryan. Aren't you that Ryan?" He goes, "No, I'm that Ryan." He's like, "Oh, okay, I'll go cancel that one and I'll work with you, Ryan." Signed our contract. The guy that he signed with before, we're closing this thing. It's a $38,000 deal. It's closing on Monday. This is Friday. I get a text, and they're like, "Hey, listen, this seller's getting blown up by this other dude that said he signed a contract with him beforehand."
Wow.
So the dude Signed it. Listen, he was first in line. He signed with this other Ryan first. Not much we could do about it. The seller didn't want to work with him, wanted to work with us. But the guy said, well, if you don't work with me, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to go through the whole procedure. Scared the old guy. The old guy was like, fine, like whatever, I'll just close with you. And we lost out on the deal, even though we had built a 7-month relationship with this guy.
No,
he doesn't sound anything like our Ryan, but he just thought it was the same Ryan, came in, swooped it, got the deal.
That is brutal.
And that's
brutal.
rare.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
once in 17 years.
I mean,
rare.
that's once
You
in
know
5
what I'm
for me
saying?
here.
Jeez.
I mean,
But it you know, sometimes that happens. That's more likely is somebody going to the title company pretending that they're you and being your doppelganger and being your evil name. And,
also,
and
our title
person's not
company,
gonna-
you wouldn't be able to walk in and say
No.
you're us.
No.
They'd look at you and say, yeah.
If I walked in and said I'm Ryan Zolin, I want to buy these properties, they'd be like, no, you're not.
Right?
No, you're
Right.
not. You don't even look like it. You don't even, you know. So
Yep.
anyway. There we go. Well, that's it. I mean, guys, what a great show. A lot of great questions here. Join us every Thursday, 10 a.m. Arizona time. It's Pacific Standard Time now. It's about to be Mountain Time next month, so we'll keep you updated on all of that. Make sure if you are not following Ryan on Instagram that you do. Make sure that you, if you have interest in joining his meetup group, it's absolutely impactful. People are already locking up deals just from spending time with this young stud, this entrepreneur, these guys, sorry, Albert, young studs, I should say. Let me pull that back.
Plural.
And listen, so first Tuesday of every month they do a meetup. Make sure that if you're within, flying distance that you come in, or driving distance, certainly if you're in town, if you live here in Phoenix, you'd be silly not to go. Listen, the goal is millionaire before 30. It starts with bringing in income, and then it finishes with being very, very, very strong and disciplined with what you do with that money and investing it.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, we're trying to give you guys the blueprint of how to do this before 30 years old. This book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I mean, this is what we were talking about as one of the staples of what is the foundation of success in real estate. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, today's episode. I mean, this is relevant to us in our lives. So,
every day.
Got me into real estate, changed my life. I'm only 23, so I know that it can do the same for you guys. But
listen, understanding the difference between an asset and a liability is the foundation.
That's it.
Of financial freedom.
Absolutely. Making sure those assets can produce enough income to cover the liabilities.
That's it.
So
that's it. Go crazy, have huge goals, have those things that you want to get and buy and do and everything else. But remember, when you buy an asset that's long-lasting, not only do you get a ton of benefit from it and a ton of financial freedom from it and income from it, but your family,
generational,
not only is learning, and not only do you get a pass on the legacy of these assets, but also they see you doing it. They see you being responsible. This is why the wealthy are the wealthy are the wealthy. Their kids and their children see them doing it. They grow up in that environment, all right? And if you're going out there and it's always up and down because you're spending money on liabilities, they're going to mimic it, and it just stops. All of the income, it doesn't matter how much you make. It goes right back to other people. You're making other people's family rich when you're spending it. Invest it in your assets. You got this. Love you guys. See you next week.
See you guys.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up.